Welcome to the Fourth Dimension group of Alcoholics Anonymous. My name is Travis, and I'm an alcoholic, and your chairperson this evening. Let us open the meeting with a moment of silence, followed by the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This is our singleness of purpose. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. We are glad you're all here, especially the newcomers. In keeping with our singleness of purpose and our third tradition, which states that the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking, we ask that all who participate confine their discussion to their problem with alcohol. Is there anyone present who is at their first meeting or in their first 30 days of sobriety? If so, please introduce yourself. We ask this not to embarrass you, but so that we can get to know you better.
My name is Tina and I'm an alcoholic.
Welcome, Tina. Hey, Steve.
Larry.
Hey, Larry.
Mike alcohol.
Hey, Mike. Welcome. Anyone else? Final call. All right. Let's see. Last call. I was never old enough to drink in the bar. Is there anyone from out of town? All right, Sean M. will read the preamble.
I'm Sean, I'm an alcoholic. It's the AA preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problems and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politic, organization, or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety.
And Brian will read the steps. Oh, hey. Are they on the front cover? What are you talking about?
I'm getting there. They took him out of here. Don't tell me what to do. I'm Brian, I'm an alcoholic. Here are the steps. 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked Him to remove all our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12, having a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs.
If you could please silence your cell phones at this time. Also, we ask if you could please refrain from getting up and down during the speakers, but if you must, please do so quietly. And if you're going to smoke, we ask you to please be away from any buildings.
Please be respectful as we are guests here of the church. Also, if you have any announcements between speakers, please see our group secretary. Group secretary, please raise your hand. Ooh, we got him on, that's right. And at this time, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Henry.
Good evening, everybody. I didn't know when I came here tonight that I was going to be a 10-minute speaker. It was kind of thrown on me. So I had a cup of coffee in my hand and I had my jacket on. It got real hot real fast. I had to put the coffee away, gave that to Eric, and hung my jacket over the chair right there. Then I said a quick prayer. I had to pray real fast. God, put the words in my mouth, let me know what to say. And the answer that I got back was that the script was already written. It started for me in 1956 when I was born. I was born into a family, a family that drunk on a regular basis. My father drunk every day. My mother, she pretty much drunk, I guess, to compete with him. I don't know. They fought about everything, even alcohol. You know, she didn't like him drinking, and he didn't like her drinking. And I grew up in that environment. I didn't start drinking or using any type of drugs until I was about 15. And to make a long story short, because we hear these same stories everywhere we go, you know, I had something else also. I had a selfish and self-centered, egotistical nature. I wanted to be better than everybody in my neighborhood. I wanted to dress nice, have nice things, make good grades. I studied hard in school. I always wanted to be the first in everything. And I ended up on death row when I was 16. I was sentenced to die in Florida's electric chair. And I grew up in a Christian family too. My grandmother took me to church every Sunday. You know, I was raised in a Baptist church, and my family they took me to church too. Even when they was drunk, they took me, and you know. But when I was on death row, you know, I used to pray to God. I had a wish list this long, you know. And none of the wishes that I put on in my prayers was answered. You know, if you knock, you're supposed to receive. The Bible said that. So I was knocking every day, and I didn't get off death row. You know, when I wanted to. I didn't get the things that I wanted while I was on death row. You know, I didn't have peace of mind. I'm 17 years old at this time, and my hair done started turning gray. I used to pull my gray hairs out and send them to my attorney and tell her that she got to hurry up and get me off of death row because my whole head going to be white, you know. And but I ended up staying in prison for 19 years, 5 months, and 21 days. A federal judge. First, let me say I never killed anyone, but it was a robbery that led up to the murder, and I was involved in the robbery. So under the law, the hand of one is the hand of all. So even though I didn't pull the trigger, you know, by law I was guilty because I was there, and. You know, but anyway, I fired God because he was taking his time, and he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. I had all these prayers that I was putting in, but none of them was getting answered. So, you know, I had to fire him. So I went to another one. I went to Allah, and then I went to Buddha, and then Confucius, and then. You know, I just went across the board. I was looking for a way out. I had to get out of there some kind of way. I couldn't just stay there, you know. And my friends was getting executed or dying in prison, stabbed up, you know. And but anyway, this attorney, she wrote me and told me, she was a student from the University of Miami. She told me that I believe I could get you out. So go for it. So she went for it, and I got out of prison, you know. And when I got out, you know, things had changed. Life had changed a lot, you know. When I first went in, cigarettes were 36 cents a pack, and they didn't have the thing where you could slide $1 in to get on the bus and all that, you know. So I had problems when I got out. I balled $1 up and stuffed it in the hole. I didn't know anything about that, but you know, a lot had changed. But it was me against the world now, you know. I got myself out of prison with the help of this attorney. I didn't need God to do that for me, you know. I did that on my own. So I thought, and I thought that even while I ended up going back to prison for 10 more years in the federal system for trafficking in heroin. I tried to get a job when I got out. It was difficult, you know. So I ended up drinking again, just like my parents, you know. And this time, it wasn't just dipping and dabbing like I was in the beginning, you know. It became a little bit heavier, and started hiding it from my wife. You know, I got married when I got out of federal prison. I got married, and you know, I started hiding it from her. And then when I started hiding it, you know, I kind of knew something was wrong, because if I gotta hide it, it can't be right. You know, if it was okay, I could just do it in front of her. But you know, she was complaining about my drinking all the time. When asking me where I'm at, when I'm coming back, I'm lying. You know, and I still had some of the same characteristics that I had when I first went in when I was 16. I still had this selfishness and this ego that I just couldn't get rid of. And so I ended up in the federal court system, and the federal judge told me 95 days ago, I don't want to send you back to prison. You're going to have to change your life some kind of way. And the prosecutor's not saying one word to send you back. The PO is not saying anything. The only one who's trying to send you back to prison is you. So what are we going to do? So my lawyer told her that he found a place called CRC in Newport Richie. I'm from Miami, you know, so okay, let's try it. So when I got there, I came in thinking that it was some type of drug treatment place. I didn't think of, you know, I heard about AA, but I never went to AA. And you know, I thought it was for people that was addicts. You know, I wasn't an addict or alcoholic, you know, but I started going into the rooms and then listening at the stories, and everybody that speak was describing me, you know. I had to be an alcoholic, an addict, you know. And so I picked up the big book for the first time while I was there. And when I picked it up, I've always been real smart. And I started reading it. In the doctor's opinion, you know, in fact, I read, before I even read the doctor's opinion, I read the forward to the second edition, first and third. I wanted to know everything, you know, before I get into it. And then when I started reading it, and I started hearing people sharing, and then I started seeing things. And to make a long story short, I got a sponsor and started developing a support group. And I did my inventory, and then my sponsor came in and pointed some things out to me about myself that I didn't ever look at it that way. I didn't think that I was self-centered and all of that. I just thought I was just being me. But and then another thing too, the spirituality part. I started looking back over my whole life. And even in the bad situations that I was in, even when I was on death row, people came into my life that was teaching me about tolerance and patience and how to be respectful. I'm in prison and these people teaching me these type of things, you know. And it's like they was preserving me for something. And, you know, I found this big book and I study it every day and I read it every day. I call my sponsor and I go to these big book studies, and in the 95 days that I've been at CRC, it's been a my recovery has been a discovery, about myself. I found more out about myself in these last 95 days than I did in the 56 years that I've been living. And I'm very grateful and humble. I've been reborn, and I have a higher power now that works in my life every day, all day. When I get up in the morning, I ask God to let me know what to say that day. Guide my mouth, guide my ears. Let me listen with my spiritual ear, and the things that come out of my mouth, I don't want to say anything that I'm going to regret. So I take my time and I think it out, and I listen at that inner voice that's talking to me, because I know it's my higher power guiding me. And I'm very grateful that I was asked to share tonight. I'm humbled by it, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Brooke will now read the traditions.
Wow. I'm so glad you have dividers on here. Yeah, thanks. There. All right. I'm Brooke. I'm an alcoholic. All right. That's not right. Can I have some assistance? Okay.
I have no idea.
That's a long version. Oh, just hang right here. Highlight.
There you go, right there, the highlighted part.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm Brooke. I'm an alcoholic. All right. These are the 12 traditions. 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. 2, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. 3, the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. 4, each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. 6, an AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8, Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10, Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need to always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. And 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities.
Thank you, Brooke, and I apologize about that. Shelby will now do the chips.
Hello, I'm Shelby, alcoholic. We have a chip system here on the west coast of Florida, celebrating lengths of sobriety. I need my glasses. Oh, I got the right one. Okay, here's the first chip. 24 hours. Mike, Amber, Danielle. Adam and Larry. I'm too old to remember too many. Anybody else for 24 hours, a new life? Get rid of an old one. 30 days. And that's Craig. 60 days. 60 days. And that's Matt. Okay, 90 days? 90 nights? There's two in here. 6 months? How about 9 months? Okay then. This is a banana. And that's Bill? How about 1 year? Woo! And that's Cody with 1 year? How about multiple years? Come on up. Come on up. That's Frederick, 24 years. Anybody else? Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Joey.
I'd like to now introduce our second speaker, Tommy M.
Hi, everybody. Tommy Marr, alcoholic. Hey, Tommy. Wow. What a beautiful people out there. My name is Tommy Marr. I'm an alcoholic again. My sobriety date is January 31st, 1964, and I belong to the Monday Night Speakers Group in St. Petersburg. You know, the most exciting thing for me tonight was just, besides listening to Edward, Henry. Thank you very much, Henry. But watching people come up here and pick up 1 day, and 30 days, and 60 days, it's incredible. How do we do that? You know, 1 day at a time, come here, we think we're scared to death, we don't know what's going on, and all of a sudden we're 30 days sober. Unbelievable. So, I'm really happy to be here. It took me a long time to get here. I know it's not very far away, but my thoughts were coming here, I'll never make it. I thought about that when I came to AA. I didn't want to make it. So anyways, I had seen what alcohol had done to my family. I have a father that's a very heavy social drinker. I have a couple of uncles that were in Alcoholics Anonymous. And every time we had some kind of affair at home, my dad would show up, or not show up. Sometimes it would be better if he didn't show up. He was a great guy, just had problems when he drank. My mother made me put my hand on a Bible, or put my hand up in the air and say, "You're not going to drink anytime, right?" I says, "You're right, Mother. I do not like what I see when I see people drink." And I might have been 3 or 4. I don't know. Come time to make that commitment to my mother, I was more concerned with what you thought about me. I didn't want to be different. Picked up a drink and got in trouble. I'm one of these guys who never, ever, ever had any fun with alcohol. I thought I was having fun with alcohol, but I never had any fun with alcohol. Alcohol took me places that I never, ever, ever thought I could go to. My first drunk was probably right after the first drink I took, 2 or 3 weeks later. I wasn't a daily drinker at 14 or 15. You know, I was more interested in playing football and sports, and it kept me out of a lot of trouble. Helped me deal with my anger issues that I had also. But I always thought that I would never smoke because I thought smoking would hurt my athletic ability, but I drank, and I drank a lot. I was going to go away to school, and I was scared to death going away to school. I was going away on a football scholarship, and I got in an argument with my parents, and I don't know about anybody else, but anytime I'm going to prove something to somebody else, I should run away, or I should be locked up, because I ended up I'm 17, I ended up in a 4-day drunk or 5-day drunk, I have no idea. I ended up in the Boston Army base with my hand up in the air in a blackout, being sworn into the United States Army, and I wish I was a sailor, but I was drunk and in a blackout, and I ended up in the Army. I love the ships. I want to say right now that there's always been somebody in my life that took care of me. Always. I could have never done the things that I did without somebody caring enough to take care of me, because I certainly couldn't take care of myself. And I had all kinds of difficulty in the service, but there was always somebody there. On a bus I wasn't in the Army hour and a half. They stopped in Rhode Island or Connecticut someplace, and me and some other guy got off the bus. Everybody went to eat. We went and continued drinking, and they couldn't find us for 8 or 9 hours. So when I got down to Fort Dix, New Jersey, they were waiting for us, and especially me. And they made me stand outside in the rain at attention. I don't know what attention is. I got my stuff in my hand, and they said, "Don't move." And from there on out, I had all kinds of difficulty. The Army's kind of a strange place to be. People who was in the Army, they probably know what they don't know what I'm going to say, because the Army gave me an opportunity to go be a MP or a dental technician. Now, what do you think I chose? I would have chose the MP, but somehow I ended up being a dental technician, and probably saved my life. I became the colonel's driver. This is a short story. They loved me so much they sent me to Korea. I became the colonel's driver. And he drank like I did, or I drank like he did. And I would take him out to, after we did sick call in the morning, we would go someplace. And at night I would take him out to the village. And more than once I would forget where I left him. I couldn't go where he went, but then I forgot where I left him. And I would go through the gate with my little Jeep. Whether the gate was up or the gate was down, I didn't care. I just went through it. The provost marshal was a good friend. I drove a colonel around, and they were buddies. And one night they said to me, "Man, you better get the hell out of here and get back where you belong, or I'm going to have to lock you up." Now, I should have been locked up. Now, I told you how I disappeared, running away. And if I could have ever stopped, by this time, I'm just way, way out of control. And if I could have ever stopped drinking, it would be this time, because I'm going home. I haven't been with my parents for 13, 14 months. I left there, leaving them all the baggage, and I needed to stop drinking. And I made a commitment to myself that I would go home sober. So I stopped drinking. And I went into the horrors and DTs. And I guess you better have a drink. And now that drink that got me to these horrors and DTs is going to take me to another place. I got home and I was worse than the day that I left. Utter disgrace. It's not who I am. That's not what I wanted to do. It's me when I drink alcohol. I hurt people. I don't like hurting people. But I think it's, I'm a young guy and I should be able to do what I want to do. I'm not really thinking about what I've done to my parents until I get to a point where I look at the baggage that I carry around. I had so much fun on a 30-day leave, I had to leave early and go back to Fort Benning, Georgia, and continue on with my behavior. I got out of the service, had absolutely no skills at all, and didn't know anything about relationships. My father was president of the Ironworkers Local Number 7 in Boston, so I became a drunken ironworker apprentice. And show my gratitude to my dad. I would show up drunk anyways, but it was Saturday we had school, and I would show up drunk, put my head down on the table, and that was the end of that. And he was about ready to throw me out. And by this time I thought if I found a woman, a good woman, she would straighten me right out. I know I needed help. So I found a good woman, not in the places I drank, but I found a good woman, and she drank about that much, maybe every year and a half or so. And I was on my best behavior. That means that I took her home after I picked her up and dropped her off about 9 o'clock, and I went out to do my drinking. Of course, I've been drunk all day. I mean, I had to keep up this BAC, that my blood alcohol content was probably a 2-3, just to move around. But I would, every day. One of these days, I had had enough. I had had enough. And I cried out to God, please help me. Now, I've cried out to God a lot, because I was a guy that would lose his shoe. I don't know how guys lose their shoe, but I lost my shoe. I would lose my automobile, and it was probably a good thing. I didn't know where I was. And I woke up one day crying out to God on my mother's floor, dead drunk, out of a blackout, crying out for help. And I was going to go to AA. That was November 22nd, 1963. That was the day that Kennedy got assassinated. Well, no good alcoholic like me stops drinking when the president gets killed. So I proceeded into trying to just exist, but that was my first really cry out to help. I never blamed God for anything, believe me, but I asked him for a lot of help when I was in trouble. When I drank, I expected there to be trouble. If you drink, you're going to get in trouble, and I didn't mind that. My values had gone someplace else, and I was never the kind of guy that I was when I was before I picked up a drink. I was a beautiful guy, young kid, would go do anything for anybody without being asked. And I picked up a drink, and there was somebody else there. So this beautiful woman that I was going to marry said, we're going to AA. I said, okay. So we went to AA that night. It was January 31st, 1964. And it was cold. And I got there real early, and I sat out in the car and froze because I didn't want to go in. The meetings were at 8:30. I got there about 8 probably. And I walked into this hall, and all I could see were people that were really in tough shape. They were 50, 60, 70. They couldn't see. They were fat. They were bald. And I looked at them and said, I have another 30 years to drink. They look good. I'm telling you, they really look good. And in those days, there were no detoxes, so you would see somebody that was having a rum fit or alcoholic seizure on the floor there, somebody be over in the corner fighting, and my sponsor always had a gallon of wine because we were in a dry town, believe it or not, and all the winos would come up to the meeting to get a drink to keep them going. They didn't drink in AA, they drank outside. They drank outside, just so they wouldn't go into the horrors and DTs. These guys would wake up if they were lucky, and if they weren't, they'd be frozen in a car over a bridge abutment or laying in the street. That's alcoholism. And when you see somebody go in the horrors and DTs and you've been in them, it's a whole different story when you're looking at them and you're sober. And I knew that was me. I was 23 years old. They asked me at my first meeting if I was an alcoholic, and I said, absolutely not. I only told you a little bit of my wonderful story, because I'd rather get into my AA story and how I've been able to maintain my sobriety for almost 49 years. Unbelievable. I was looking for a way out when I got to AA. Out of AA. I walked in the door and I was looking for a way out. And when they asked me that question, I said, absolutely not. Now, my question when people come to AA, I ask them, I never ask them if they're alcoholic, but I ask them, do you like what happens to you when you drink? And they say, I says, not an answer. It's either yes or no. Do you like what happens to you when you drink? I hate it. That's enough. That's all you have to do to get here. And if you can't make up that decision when you're here, hang around for a little bit till you can make that decision up and give yourself a break till you can make. You're loaded with alcohol, you're looking for a way out, the heat is on, and you're going to do anything. There's hope in AA. We're sober today. This is a brand new year, 2013. Incredible. And we have a chance. All the sick people really came in December. The real sick ones couldn't make it through December. I almost made it into February. So hang in there. Don't drink. If you don't like what happens to you when you drink, take a look at what's going on around you. Throw away that hammer that you've been beating the hell out of yourself. Get rid of the guilt. Try to change your attitude. Oh, I need to change my attitude. When I got here, I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic, because I thought if I said I was an alcoholic, I could never, ever drink again. And I wasn't ready to make that commitment. Because I still thought in 3 or 4 weeks in AA, 3 weeks in AA, I still thought an alcoholic was a skid row bum. Well, you know what? If you don't like what happens to you when you drink, and you don't drink maybe once a month, and you don't like it, that's enough to stop. You don't have to go around and be a fallen down drunk to be in an AA. If you don't like what happens when you drink, take a look at it. So this night I decided I was going to tell my sponsor. The guy that asked me that became my sponsor. He said, can you go to another meeting tomorrow? I says, no, I can't do that. I'm getting married in 3 months and we have things to do. She said, he'll be there. So I went to my second meeting and I hated it. I went to my third and fourth and fifth meeting and I haven't drank. How do you figure that? I haven't drank. I can't believe that because I'm a daily drunk. And it didn't even think about me drinking. That's the power of power greater than myself and the power of Alcoholics Anonymous. Because you guys have something that I want. And I better decide whether I want to be willing to do this deal or not. So I've decided I'm going to tell my sponsor, I'm going to give him a break and tell him I'm an alcoholic. I think I'm an alcoholic. And the meeting got over at 10 o'clock, and I should have told him then, but I got this bright idea on the way home. And the next day, I sweated bull. I mean, I couldn't even sleep. I'm going to tell this guy I'm an alcoholic. And I got to the meeting at 8 o'clock, and the meeting started at 8:30. I said, Arthur, I'm an alcoholic. He said, big deal. You know what big deal means? What do you want to do about it? Now, I could tell you today the same question for people who've been around AA a long time. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. How do you like your behavior when you go home? How do you treat your family? How do you do your work? And if you can answer that, I'm happy, happy, happy. I don't mean that happy that they're going to lock you up, but I'm okay. What's the problem? But if you're not, what do you want to do about it? See, I based my program on going to AA every day. I built a foundation in Alcoholics Anonymous by going every day. Good foundation. So when I'm performing in a dry drunk like I was for the first 8 or 9 or 10 years in AA, maybe 15, I don't have to drink. Drinking is not my solution. You know, we all isolate at different times in AA. And I need something to fall back on real quick when I don't like myself. And I'm always beating myself up. I better run my butt to an AA meeting and talk to my sponsor. I really believe in sponsor. I've had one, well, my first sponsor was sober 50 years when he died. And he was in my life for 46 years. My only sponsor. 3 days later, I had another sponsor. Because I need to run stuff through people. I can't keep secrets. I work with a lot of people, and most of them know a lot of me and what I do, but I need to have a sponsor. I need to belong to a group, because if I go to a meeting once a week, and I go to my home group once a week, and the people know me, and they say, "How you doing?" I says, "I'm doing really good." And they ask me again. They're seeing something. Somebody asks you twice, "How you doing?" You better check yourself out, because they're seeing something that you're not seeing. I have a lot of habits in my life that I had to try to get rid of. Bad habits, character defects, anger. I used to use anger to keep people away from me, and I needed to walk around in AA and say, "Please help me. I need some help here." What does a 23-year-old kid know about anything? I didn't know about anything. And I know today that my whole life is based on relationships with everybody. Everybody. And it starts, and I'm going to tell you my little weird story here, because I'm just jumping around a little bit. I'm sober 15 years in AA. In the first 8 years, I decided I better go get some outside help to work with these anger issues. And I went to see this psychiatric social worker, helped me out greatly. And every time I would get so far and I'd stop because I got afraid, and I says, "I'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks or a month." And I always went back, but I went to a roadblock. Now, AA and the 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous can take me almost anywhere I want to go. But I needed some other advice. You know, how do I deal with my marriage? How do I deal with my kids? You know, how do I be more responsible? Now, AA can tell you that and show you that, and we can show each other that today, because a lot of us are sober that way. But I didn't want to let anybody into my life. My sponsor would tell you, if he was here today, that he never saw anybody work harder on their sobriety than me. And he'll tell you he never saw anybody as angry as me. So somewhere in between there's a good guy. You know, I couldn't see that because I continue to beat myself up, and I keep blaming people, places, and things for my behavior. I did that when I was drinking. Now I'm blaming people, places, and things for what I do, that I've created, and I set people up. I set them up. Now, what I'm pointing out is you can't do that every day and be sober in Alcoholics Anonymous. But when I would go on these dry drunks, this is what would happen. Before I get too carried away, I got to tell you that I had the great opportunity of meeting Bill Wilson. And it was going to be a great occasion. But I had to get there. And for me to get there, certain things have to happen. My kids had to be put someplace, my little babies. My wife had to be ready when I came home, because we're going to go have some fun in New York. I came home that day, and she says, "Let's go." She said, "We can't go anywhere. I got to take care of the kids. I got to do this. I got to pack the bags." She was going to pack my bag. And she said, "Will you vacuum the rug?" I said, "Sure." I got so mad, I kicked that vacuum cleaner all over the house. Now, is that emotional sobriety? You know, is that a mature person in AA? And the other little story I like to tell is that I was sober 6 months, married 3. And I'm going to tell you, I thought I was the nicest guy, and I would come home every night. I'd bring the money home every week, and I would be home on time. One night I got home a little late, and I couldn't make a phone call because it just wasn't available to me. I got home and my bags were packed. Sober 6 months, married 3. I think I'm doing a good job. And she says, "You're out of here." I says, "No." Now this is the arrogance of me when I knew something. Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't do those things. I says, "You better take those bags back upstairs and go to Al-Anon and learn how to live with a drunk like me." Where does that stuff come from? I invented that statement. I don't know where it came from. I saw people that were married, and their wives and their spouses were in Al-Anon, and they looked pretty happy. Well, obviously, my wife wasn't very happy. So Amy went to Al-Anon, and 3 years later, she became chairperson of Al-Anon in Massachusetts. She was a big shot. And we went down to, well, that's another story of God working in my life when I can't do anything for myself. She went to Al-Anon and plumbed me right up. I'm going to tell you that. For Al-Anon, I think Al-Anon is the best program in the whole world. You know, and it's very healthy and helped me grow up. But I'm on my way down to see Bill Wilson, and I get down there and created all kinds of stuff. And my wife told everybody that I kicked the vacuum clean. I couldn't walk. They want to know what was the matter with me. I told them. And so I don't know about you guys, but you guys sit really still. I couldn't sit still. I'm going from room to room to room. And I got into this room, and there were maybe 10 or 15 men in there, and they were talking. And I said, "I'm not listening to these guys either." So I left, and about 4 o'clock that afternoon, they had a reception for Bill Wilson, and he walked in, and, you know, it was just different. You know, something had happened. And I said to my sponsor, "What's going on?" He says, "Well, Bill Wilson just walked in." He said, "Where is he?" He's over there. And that was the guy that I wasn't going to listen to, those 15 guys. You know, what do I know, right? So what's the message? Don't leave before the last speaker. The last speaker will save your butt. Every little thing I ever heard at AA helped me not to drink. I made a commitment with my sponsor. Well, he made one with me. I wasn't making any commitments with anybody. He says, when you want to drink, there are 2 things or 3 things you have to do. One of them is you have to go to an AA meeting. 2, you have to tell somebody you want to drink after the meeting, because they had a break in the middle, and you could scoot out if you wanted to. He said, after the meeting. And if you still want to drink, go ahead after you do those things. So this day I woke up, and I knew I was going to drink. There was nothing on this earth that was going to stop me from drinking. I knew where I was going to go, where I wasn't wanted. I was going there anyways. And I went to work, knew I had to go to the meeting. My sponsor wasn't there. I talked to another alcoholic at the back of the hall after the meeting, and I don't know what I told him other than the fact that I wanted to drink. I have no idea what he said to me. I went home, I got down on my knees, and I thank God for another day of sobriety. That's what I learned. I obviously didn't want to drink, because I would have drank before I did all of those things. But he instilled in me to make a commitment. To make a commitment, I got to take care of that. And all the little things that I ever heard in AA helped me not to drink. And I was trying to find a way out of here. So fast forward a long, long way, 15 years, we get a divorce, and it was very painful. She loved me and I loved her, but we couldn't live together. I had 3 kids, never saw me pick up a drink, but they never knew who was going to come home sometimes, because I was still angry. And I don't want to hurt people. I'm tired of hurting people. It's not what I want to do. It's not my favorite, because when I hurt somebody, I don't like me, and I get this guilt thing. You know, my favorite, these guys that I work with, a few women I work with, they said, well, you know what? I'm the problem. I said, you know what? I'm tired of you telling me you're the problem and not doing anything about it. I think we think, because we say we're the problem, that's it. What do you want to do about it? I said, don't talk to me about that anymore. Do something about it. So, back to counseling. I was a guy who always tried to find out what was wrong with me. I looked at a lot of male attitudes that I had. I looked at the anger, and the anger is just about. I have trouble when I drive my car. Other than that, I'm angry about anything. I've learned in my program that I need to forgive people. I know nobody here judges people. I have to judge people. I have to judge because I put a value on my boundaries and what's going on with me, and I have to take a look. But I don't report the judgment because I could be wrong. I don't report that out. I try to mind my own business. And I always ask God today to help me be the best person that I can be and help me not to embarrass AA. My friend Chuck became my second sponsor. We'd say to each other, you know, we cannot embarrass AA anymore. I work with a lot of guys who got a lot of time, and I turn to them sometimes and say, you're an embarrassment to AA. When are you going to stop that crap and grow up? And I can do that. I'm just their sponsor, but it's not okay. You know, you guys are beautiful. You're sitting there listening. It's very easy to talk. And it's quiet. And if you had something on your mind, something was going on, how can you identify if somebody beside you was talking or texting or whatever they do today? I don't text. I think that's rude. If I want to talk to somebody, I call them up. You know, I answer my emails, but that's another issue. So, I'm the kind of guy that has to win at everything. I'm very competitive. I'm the guy that cheats playing cards with his grandson. I learned all of this stuff by watching somebody else. Because I said one day to my grandfather, "You're cheating." He said, "No, I'm not." I said, "You're cheating." He said, "No, I'm not." 40 years later, 30 years later, whatever it was, my grandson says, "You're cheating." I said, "No, I'm not." And the story about that is that, you know, I don't care if I win or lose today. I'm happy to be playing cards. I'm happy to be socialized. I don't have to win. And I sit back and play with guys that have to win. You know, I have a sponsor, a pigeon that I have that's been sober a long time, and he's very competitive, and I'm going to tell you, this is his story, but I'm going to tell you it. He's out playing golf with 3 guys and himself. So that's a foursome. And one of the guys can't see, and the other 2 aren't keeping score, and he's wondering, he's so upset with his score, and I says, that guy can't see, and the other 2 guys ain't keeping score. That would be me, trying to keep score and win. You know, I missed a lot of things trying to win. You know, I thank God today that He's given me the gift of you people. And all I have to do is show up here and try to be of service to people. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous has given me everything. And there isn't a day goes by that I don't think about me and my control issues and my self-will. There's no God in my self-will. And if I got the things that I really worked for, and I got them, I would have lost. I wouldn't be here in Florida today if I got what I wanted. And I didn't get it, so I retired one day. So for young people, I retired when I was 50 because I didn't drink. So, came to Florida, and AA is beautiful in Florida. I remember all of the old timers that brought me up in AA. I remember every single one of them. You will never be forgotten in Alcoholics Anonymous. Never. I'm going to tell you what kind of a guy my sponsor was, because he knew me, and this was my first anniversary. And in Melrose, Massachusetts, that's where I got sober. You get a cake 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30. An old timer was, my sponsor's sponsor was sponsored by a guy who was sponsored by Bill Wilson. So there's a legacy here. And he left us this program. But my sponsors, I invited everybody that I know. It's my birthday, 365 days. And that was the last person being presented. Everybody got their cakes and everything. And I'm waiting for my cake. I knew it was going to be a big one, and he come out with this cupcake with a big candle. And why do you think he did that? Because he loved me enough to bring me to my knees. We're incredible here. We get egos. Somebody puts us down, we want to punch them out. You know? He brought me to my knees, and I came back twice as big. You know, I need that humility. I need that legs cut out from under me. I need to get right-sized. I don't know anything. I'm coming to AA, and I think it's the worst thing that ever happened to me. And when I look at it today, and I watch how God works in my life, and I see the beautiful things that happen to me that I don't make happen, that I'm available, whether it's tragedy. He took care of my mother for a year and a few months. I took her to Maine one day. She had a stroke, and I stayed with her. Biggest gift I got in my life. 24 hours a day up there with her. My sister died in my arms. My father died in my arms. I could have missed the whole trip. I could have missed the whole trip coming to Alcoholics Anonymous if I didn't change my attitude. There's nothing in AA that can hurt you. A power greater than myself was alcohol, and he kicked my butt. Power greater than myself is the God of my understanding, and it can be anything for you guys. But I know I need a power greater than me. I had to take a look at that, because I thought I was indestructible. And AA will take us to places where we don't want to go. I mean, alcohol will take us to places where we don't want to go. We end up in a blackout and we hurt somebody. You know, so I think I'm about done. What's important to me today is that I try to give people free passes. I told you I make judgments on people. I can get resentful about certain things, and I can't afford that. So I have this imaginary book in my back pocket, and I write them a free pass. And I'm free. It isn't for them, it's for me. So I don't get hooked and I don't get angry. I'm the kind of guy who was sober in AA that came to AA and grew into a lumberjack with a chainsaw and a sledgehammer going around AA and everywhere else I went. You know, today I got this little imaginary screwdriver, it's about that big, and I can tighten my screws up or I can back them off. That's what AA has done for me. Changed my life. I really appreciate the way that you guys listened tonight. Happy New Year. It's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow. Thank you.